Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise, getting straight to the core of the stories and ideas shaping our world. And today, we're tackling a big one, a book that asks some really profound questions. Like, how do we actually deal with unimaginable trauma? What does the sheer chaos of war tell us about time itself, about free will? Can telling stories actually help us survive? We are diving deep into Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five. It's a novel that just keeps hitting home decades later. We've pulled together quite a bit, critical takes, bits about Vonnegut's life, philosophical angles to really unpack how he did it. Our mission today isn't just, a plot summary. We want to show how Vonnegut used his own shattering experiences, how he mixed sci-fi, satire, really dark humor into this powerful anti-war message. And a kind of humanist philosophy that feels incredibly relevant right now.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How he takes something so personal, so horrific, the Dresden bombing, and spins it into this narrative. It manages to be detached, but also deeply empathetic and surprisingly funny in places. We're going to try and connect those dots for you as life, Billy Pilgrim's bizarre world, and these big philosophical questions he just drops in your lap.
Yeah.
Questions that really challenge how you think about fate, about memory, maybe even your own choices in this, well, chaotic world.
Okay, so let's start with Vonnegut himself, because you really can't understand Slaughterhouse-Five without understanding the man, right?
Absolutely not.
He's just such a unique American voice from the 20th century. His style seems simple, plain prose, people call it, but there's so much underneath. And he was a master at blending genres.
Yeah.
You get sci-fi, satire, that dark humor we mentioned, and this deep, sometimes kind of sad humanism. But for this book, the absolute core, the thing it revolves around, is his experience being a POW. During the bombing of Dresden, World War II.
It's completely crucial context. He didn't just research this, he lived it. He was one of just a few American POWs held underground in an actual slaughterhouse meat locker, hence the title, obviously, when the Allies firebombed Dresden in '45.
An event that just wiped out the city. Huge civilian casualties.
Exactly. A city with arguably little strategic value at that point. It scarred him deeply. And that direct experience gives the book's anti-war message this incredible authenticity. It's not abstract. It's a testament, really, to a moral horror he saw firsthand. And it took him, over 20 years to finally get it down in this form?
Yep.
So the insight here, I think, is that the book isn't just about trauma. In a way, it is the trauma. Broken up, reassembled through fiction. It's how he coped, and maybe how he helps the reader cope, too.
The book is the trauma. That really lands. And that intensely personal source, that shattering event, it directly shapes the main character, Billy Pilgrim. His life is, let's say, not straightforward.
Not at all.
He becomes, famously, unstuck in time. Which isn't just a gimmick, is it? It's fundamental to who he is. What does that actually mean for him? And how does Vonnegut use it to get at something deeper psychologically?
Well, it means his life just doesn't happen in order. One minute he's old, the next he's a kid, then he's back in the war. Poof, like skipping randomly through scenes on a movie reel. It's jarring. And Vonnegut uses this non-linear thing brilliantly, I think, to show the psychological fallout of trauma. For Billy, being unstuck is almost a defense mechanism, a way to reframe the horror, especially Dresden.
Dresden again. It always comes back to Dresden.
It's the anchor point, the moment that breaks his sense of linear time, of reality itself, just like it broke Vonnegut's, arguably.
So you've got Billy, this sort of passive guy, an optometrist after the war. Seems pretty ordinary on the surface. But his life gets punctuated by something even wilder than time travel. He gets abducted by aliens. The Tralfamadorians. They're huge, aren't they? Not just sci-fi dressing. They give Billy this whole new way of looking at everything.
Oh, absolutely central. You can't understand the book's philosophy without the Tralfamadorians. They're these advanced beings, look like toilet plungers, who see time differently, not as a line, past, present, future. For them, all moments exist at the same time, always have, always will, like bugs in amber is the phrase they use.
Bugs in amber, wow.
Yeah. So no real cause and effect, no free will, everything just is, and their response to death. So it goes.
There it goes, yeah.
This total fatalism, this idea that all moments exist forever, it gives Billy a kind of detachment, a way to mentally step outside his trauma. He can revisit Dresden in his mind, but without being totally overwhelmed, because from their view, it just is. It always exists. Which, really makes you think, doesn't it? How does that alien viewpoint challenge how we see stories, see fate, see our own lives? By ditching linear time, Vonnegut forces you to question cause and effect, and ultimately, your own agency.
And it's not just Billy and these plunger aliens. There are other really memorable characters, too, like Roland Weary, this awful guy who romanticizes war and torture.
Ugh, Weary. Yes. A perfect satire of that kind of toxic, delusional masculinity tied up in war fantasies.
Or Edgar Derby, the older teacher, seems kind of unimportant.
Until the end, yes. Poor Derby.
Survives the apocalypse of Dresden, then gets executed for stealing a teapot. I mean,
It's the ultimate expression of war's absurdity, isn't it? It's
yeah.
random, pointless cruelty, cosmic indifference.
Yeah. And then there's Vonnegut himself popping into the story,
Constantly reminding you he's there.
saying, I was there, or mentioning his uncle. It blurs that line between fiction and memoir.
It does. It keeps grounding the story in his reality. It's like he's saying, look, this is real. I'm trying to figure this out right alongside you. It stops it from just being a weird sci-fi story.
Right. Okay, so let's dig into the big themes.
Yeah.
Because it's loaded. Obviously, at its heart, Slaughterhouse-Five is just this devastating critique of war's absurdity. But it's not just another anti-war book, is it? How does he use all these strange elements, the time stuff, the aliens, the dark jokes, to make that critique hit so hard?
He kind of redefines what the battlefield even means. The absurdity isn't just the violence, it's the universe's complete indifference to it all. Vonnegut just strips away any sense of heroism or noble purpose. The Tralfamadorian view, everything fixed, inevitable, suggests war isn't some grand struggle. It just happens, so it goes.
Like a natural disaster, almost.
Kind of, yeah. Dresden isn't shown as strategic or necessary. It's just senseless destruction, a symbol of modern war's moral void. And by talking about death so casually, mixing tragedy with farce, he makes it impossible to romanticize any of it. The real insight, I think, isn't just war is absurd, but how he uses the fantastical to show its grim reality more effectively than realism ever could.
And that phrase, so it goes, is so tied into that. You mentioned it. It follows every mention of death, big or small. It's almost like the book's signature. But what's it really doing there? Is it just fatalism? Is it coping? What is it?
It's doing a lot of work, I think. It's complicated. On one level, yes, it reflects the Tralfamadorian view. Death isn't an end. The person just exists in other moments. Fixed. Unchangeable. For Billy, it definitely becomes a coping mantra, a way to acknowledge death but immediately blunt the pain, like an emotional buffer.
An aesthetic, yeah.
But Vonnegut's also using it rhetorically, maybe satirically. He points out how easily we dismiss death, especially mass death in war, when he says, so it goes, after a bird dies, and then after tens of thousands die in Dresden. That jarring equality highlights the indifference, sure, but it also maybe forces us to feel the weight of each loss that's being brushed off so quickly. It really plays with that tension between free will and fate. Are we just bugs in amber?
That adds so much depth to just three little words. Okay, and sticking with the Tralfamadorians, their view of time, how does Vonnegut use that nonlinear thing to explore memory, especially traumatic memory?
Well, their view is Billy's psychological escape hatch. If all time exists at once, then Dresden isn't locked in the past. It's just there, always present alongside every other moment, good or bad.
So he can just jump away.
Essentially, yeah. When the memory of Dresden gets too intense, he can mentally time travel to a happier moment, his wedding day maybe, or being a baby. It's a really powerful way to show how a traumatized mind might try to reorder things to escape. Memory isn't linear recall. It's this fragmented, ever-present jumble.
It's not about forgetting then, it's about shifting focus to survive.
Exactly. The Tralfamadorians symbolize that ultimate detachment. It's a kind of cosmic therapy, even if it seems incredibly cold and fatalistic to us humans with our focus on grief and healing over time.
It is bleak, but you can see how it functions as self-preservation. But Vonnegut doesn't just stop at war and cosmic stuff. He also gets in some digs at modern society, right? Especially post-war America, through Billy's life.
Oh, definitely. There's a sharp, subtle satire running through it. Think about Billy coming back from that horror to this life of, well, suburban optometry, consumer comforts, a kind of bland prosperity.
The contrast is huge.
Huge. And Vonnegut uses it. Optometry itself seeing, but maybe not really seeing. Selective vision. He pokes fun at blind patriotism, comfortable apathy, the way society just wants to move on and ignore the deep wounds.
You see in the dumb sci-fi books Billy reads, the empty conversations.
Yeah, the general disconnect from history, from suffering elsewhere. It broadens the critique beyond the battlefield. It suggests that even in supposed peace, society can be morally numb or just, willfully blind. Which maybe helps explain how the horrors happen in the first place.
Which brings us to why this book lasts. Why is Slaughterhouse-Five still so powerful? Why do we keep reading it, studying it?
I think because it offers this unique philosophical mix. You've got existentialism, absurdism, sci-fi, all tackling these huge human questions. It's not just abstract philosophy, though. We see Billy thrown into this meaningless universe that's the absurdism and forced to confront his total lack of control. His freedom isn't about making choices, it's just about observing the moments. It's Vonnegut's unique spin on existentialism, more resignation than rebellion, maybe, but it provides a way to cope.
It makes it incredibly relatable, even if you haven't lived through a war. We all grapple with feeling powerless, with mortality, with randomness.
Exactly. And it suggests that even when things feel broken and chaotic, there's still a path towards understanding, towards compassion.
And that central idea storytelling is survival that really comes through powerfully, doesn't it? It feels like Vonnegut is showing us that even though war is senseless, the act of trying to make sense of it, to shape it into a story, is maybe what keeps us going.
I think that's precisely it. Vonnegut himself took decades to write this book. It was his process of trying to articulate something almost beyond words. The book demonstrates that need, the human need to tell the story, to witness, and crucially, to find compassion for others, and maybe for ourselves too. Slaughterhouse-Five didn't just become a classic, it changed what a war novel could even be. It's still essential reading, a testament to enduring and even laughing darkly at the worst of things.
So we've really unpacked quite a bit here. Vonnegut's own story, Billy Pilgrim's fractured journey through time, the strange wisdom of the Tralfamadorians, and that devastating core of Dresden. It's a book that truly messes with your ideas about time, about fate, about the sheer absurdity of war, and leaves you with this feeling that even when things seem utterly senseless, telling the story, finding compassion that matters. So here's a final thought for you to take away. If all moments really do exist simultaneously, like the Tralfamadorians say, how does that change how you think about grief, or joy, or even the choices you feel like you're making every day? Something to chew on. Until next time, keep digging deeper.